Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Got Jimmy Johnson here on board. About to react to all these damn playoff games. What a weekend. What a weekend, Jimmy. I can't believe what we just watched across the board in this league and this game we love.
It was wild weekend. Every game was intense. Every game was, no matter who you're a fan of, it was just fun stuff. It's what we hope for when we see a football game every time, you know?
Absolutely. And I actually think, as you guys are coming in here into the chat, make sure you hit that live button. Make sure you subscribe, all the good stuff. We're just here rapping as fans and just, real time taking notes on all this stuff because in my opinion, and I think Jimmy, you agree with me, this was an historic weekend for the game of football. The advancements of guys that are right now stars, but now going to that superstar level and across the board and people that are, you talk about legacy games and things of that sort. So we're going to react to all of it. For those of you who are, been here a long time, you know what it is. We've got to give a thank you to our sponsor, BUSR, busr.com/fanatic. Go there. I hope those of you that hit me up this weekend that were putting in bets, thank you. Taking advantage. Lando and I, we actually did some live betting today on BUSR, and we took the plus 700 on Rams to win by 1 to 6 points when they were up 27-3. We jumped on that and got a nice payout there. We took the over on the 46 points. We took the over on the 54 points for Bills Chiefs. I almost hit on our 14 parlay for the weekend because we knew the road teams were looking good. We knew that. And so we hit on one parlay yesterday with Bengals and 49ers. And then today we had the big one with Bengals, 49ers. We had the Rams and we had the Bills 2.5 points, Jimmy. And then Tran actually did another one where he had Bills. He bought some points. He did Bills 5.5. And with a bad beat as they lose in overtime by 6 to the Chiefs. So shout out to our sponsor.
Did anybody have Gabriel Davis in their daily fantasy lineup, though? That's the question. Did anybody make that pick?
Gabriel Davis with a Jerry Rice type performance, 200 yards, 4 tutties.
Yeah. Somebody won their DraftKings.
4 tutties.
Somebody won today.
Bro, all right, let's start with link not working, passing record at Tech. Oh, y'all here. Oh, everybody's straight. Jimmy.
Yeah.
Let's start in chat. Let's start with Bills Chiefs. So the Chiefs win in overtime, 42-36, the only home team to win this weekend. And they're facing, and I call Josh Allen at this point, to me, they call him that in Buffalo. I call him the winter soldier. Yeah, he's terrifying. I would never ever want my team to play that guy in a playoff game. And he seems so much bigger than everybody on the field. Yeah. Number one, he seems like he can throw the football literally out of the stadium, but he now seems to have an understanding within his powers of, like a pitcher that, comes into the majors and they have all that gas, but they got to learn the nuance and control because he's very accurate now.
Yeah.
Underneath. He also, like the shot he took on the first Gabriel Davis, the big play touchdown, he was patient. Josh Allen 2 years ago would have been shooting in too high safety, but he waited till he got the right look. Very, very patient. I am blown away. He didn't deserve to lose today, Jimmy.
Yeah, that's the narrative at the end of this game, right? Is everybody's calling for the OT rules to change. I'm torn on it.
I'm torn on it too.
I like good defense at the end of the day here and there. at least, right? And in a game like this where it's such a shootout, you'd like to see Josh get another chance, but at the same time, I think the only way you can fix it is college OT rules, right? Something along those lines. And I think people would complain about that too. At the end of the day,
We already complain about college OT. And here's the other thing to it, right? The Players Association factors in here as well. We have to understand the reason why they have the overtime the way they do. It's also a player safety type thing. They've played at this point, if you're in this Bills Chiefs game, you've played what, 20 some weeks of football almost now?
Yeah.
Maybe this is week 20. I don't know what week this is anymore.
Yeah.
It's a lot of football. And that's why they shortened the time. It used to be 15-minute overtimes. Now it's 10-minute overtimes.
Right.
Now, they've added in at least a little buffer to say, hey, if you score a touchdown, you can walk off. But if you kick a field goal, you can get the ball back on the other end.
Right.
My thing is, if I feel bad for Josh Allen as a fan. I feel as though as a fan, you want to see both quarterbacks get the ball. They're literally in a duel. Mahomes is on point. Mahomes brought his A game today. Josh Allen brought his A game today, and it's a heavyweight fight. So I'm saying, I feel bad for them. Let me be very clear, though, Jimmy. I don't feel bad for Buffalo losing the football game because you had an opportunity to win the game.
Yes.
Right? Like you had 13 seconds. I'd be more pissed off about 13 seconds than the overtime rules.
Right. You had 13 seconds to make a stop. Then you got the entire overtime period to make a stop. So the defense had 2 opportunities to make a stop, and they didn't. And, both times, well, in the overtime, they allowed a touchdown on top of that. So all you have to do is force a field goal in overtime. So for somebody that enjoys defense, at a high level and understands that a lot of times championship teams have the best defenses, and I believe that, Buffalo, you got to stand up and make a stop there. You got 2 opportunities there. They didn't. So, yeah, for the offensive firepower that we saw today, we would have loved to seen Josh get another shot at it. But at the end of the day, defense has to do their job too. So,
absolutely. You want to have the opportunity. Again, we're debating this as fans versus if our teams are involved or any of those type of things. You got to understand. We saw teams this weekend win in all phases. Right? We saw a team go in the cold weather and win with their defense and win with their special teams.
Yep.
We saw this game today. They won with quarterback play.
Yeah.
Saw the Rams get hot early, get out to build up margin, and then win with their pass rush, and things of that sort. So there's different ways to secure victory in these football games. But, if you're the Chiefs, now they match up with the Bengals. We'll get to the Bengals-Titans game. That game got crazy too. All these games were nuts. Bills-Chiefs, Jimmy, off the top of your head, that's got to be one of because to me, the game was great from the beginning. Rams-Bucks was crazy when you started realizing like Tom Brady is witchcraft and he's somehow, some way he's going to get back in the game.
The
but the Bucks were getting their ass whooped.
NFL history. I'll say it again. He's the luckiest player. I've never watched a guy in the NFL time in, time out get so beneficial. I don't know if it's calls. Ball bounces a certain way. Somebody fumbles it there's no way you could ever fumble the ball at that time. Seattle throwing a pick on the 1-yard line. All of the things that has happened to this guy. The only thing that's happened to him is the New York Giants. That's the only bad thing that's happened to this dude. But yeah, I was like, here he comes again. He's literally going to make one of the craziest comebacks ever. And I don't know. Finally, the voodoo ran out, I guess. I don't know.
Well, in that particular game, credit to Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp. I'm going to say this, because Cooper Kupp did fumble at one point in the game, but overall he had an amazing game and was able to, just do his job. Matthew Stafford really just being composed throughout. I thought with Stafford, though, what was interesting was all the stuff that was falling apart on the Rams' end, not much of it really involved him. Like it was running backs fumbling. It was receivers fumbling after the catch. Like he did fumble on the first quarterback draw, but like other than that, like he was pretty clean as this whole situation is unfolding. And I say that because mentally, I felt like he never had doubt in himself within that game. And
Yeah.
I think when they left him time, and Matthew Stafford, he made a career of this in Detroit. And I know these games weren't as big as the game today, but game-winning drives, he's always been money. He has some of the most game-winning drives in when his team is in that position and they need to get points or get in field goal range. He's always been very, very good at doing that. And got to give credit to him. Got to give credit to the Rams organization. Jimmy, we talked about it a long time ago when they were making these moves, when they picked up Von Miller, when they traded Jared Goff. They went all. They don't believe in draft picks.
Yeah. Yeah, there's two things I saw today. Number one, Von Miller's getting healthy, and that's a problem. Von Miller is everywhere right now. The fact that Aaron Donald finally has somebody to help him out on that line to get real pressure, that's the biggest thing I'm looking at going into the Niners game. Jimmy can't hold that ball loose, and they're going to have to get it out quick, and they're going to have to run on that defensive line. They've done it before. But this defense feels a little different right now. They're not the defense I've seen over the last 5 weeks. They're starting to play with confidence is the biggest thing. Ramsey got burned today, but he's going to come back. He'll be fine. The other thing I was really surprised by is, Matt Stafford's known for his interceptions, right? So I'm really happy to see him go out there and play a clean game. And that, to me, that's the ticket, right? You can't throw a pick and beat a team like the Niners. You can't throw in the Final Four. You can't do that. So that to me is whether if Matt goes out there. I think it goes for the Niners too, though. If Jimmy goes out there and throws a pick, I think that whoever plays a clean game at quarterback next week, that's going to be the team that moves on.
Jimmy has a little bit more margin built in because of their coaching and their defense.
Yeah,
because he's been making mistakes and getting away with it.
Got to be lucky.
Even in the Rams game, the two times they played the Rams this year, right? Because I don't think Sean McVay's beaten Kyle Shanahan head to head yet.
Yep.
So this would be the first. But Kyle's just been able to get away with Jimmy doing whatever, and they still come out and win these games because they're buttoned up in all the other areas. Going back to the Josh Allen thing, Austin, I'm with you here, man. Austin said, I feel really bad for Josh Allen because he had an all-time great performance wasted because of his defense. Austin, you also got to factor this in. Weren't the Buffalo Bills a top 2 defense in the
I think they're the number 1 defense in the
Were they number 1? It was either them or the Patriots.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they're at least number 1 in the AFC, I think. It depends on the latest stats or not, but
football
they were leaky today. I mean, if you look at the stats, they were real leaky. Kelsey had a day, Hill had a day. They were running the ball. Pat ran all over the place. I know
so I want to talk about the running element. Yeah. Because before we got on camera, Jimmy, we were talking about more of a, and I think you said it was Golick that beat you to it?
Yeah,
what was the statement?
Yeah, Mike Golick basically said that this feels a lot like the new version of Brady versus Peyton, which I was actually thinking it before we got on there, and I was like, damn, he beat me to it. But yeah, it's absolutely feels like that. Wherein Pat is kind of like the Brady of the conversation, where he, I feel like Josh is going to get a couple over his career, but you feel like Pat has just got that magic, same kind of feel to it.
I have a point I want to add to that. I want to take it a step further. I feel like right now where they are in their careers, and a lot of this has to do with rules, the evolution of football, just where we are, because the way they play football, even if you look at the 2003, I keep referencing this game because that game changed football. The 2003 FC Championship game when Ty Law just kidnaps Marvin Harrison. And they can't literally, and I think Peyton throws 0 touchdowns and 4 picks or whatever. But my point is, right now, they're playing at a level higher than those two even did when they were matching up in the playoffs together. Yeah. Not to be disrespectful to Brady or Manning. We know what they've won and we know what they stand for. Look at how these people have to play defense to defend Mahomes. Look at how they have to play defense to defend Josh Allen. I've never seen anything
It's
like
almost
this.
like Pat Mahomes is almost like what Michael Vick was for that generation, where it was just like Michael Vick was just so frustrating for defenses to stop. That's the closest thing I can remember to Pat now was him.
Well, you can't play single high safety against them anymore because they have too many weapons. He'll throw the ball over your head. So now they're doing the too high thing. They're trying to match up underneath with everybody, and he
Yeah.
uses his legs.
Yeah.
That's the solution. Buy time, use your legs, extend, take it, and he's grown. We talk about Josh Allen, and I tweeted this. Josh Allen was a great athlete who happened to play quarterback. And now
Yeah.
he's a great quarterback who is also a great athlete. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. He's understanding his full powers. But with Patrick Mahomes, it's the same thing where he has all this athletic ability and creativity, honestly, that we saw even back at Texas Tech, but reining it in. And Romo talked about this on the broadcast, astutely pointing out Pat now understands when he needs to be patient. And that was the word of the day for Mahomes. Patient, patient, patient. Because your shots will come when you're patient, but you're also consistently moving the football. That's why they can be a high-powered offense and not stall.
Yeah.
You don't ever see them go 3 and out like
Right.
that because they understand. Like Patrick Mahomes is now comfortable with, I'll check it down to McKinnon. I'll check it down to Clyde. I'll keep
Correct.
working underneath, keep working. I'll use my legs. 3rd and 5. Quarterback is live. I can run for 10 yards. I can run for 15 yards when it's man coverage underneath. Because you can't use an extra defender to spy the quarterback.
Yeah.
Now I can throw again. There's no solution to guard either one of the quarterbacks.
No. And when you score with 13 seconds left in the game, you're like, we won.
Right.
And when a guy gets 40 yards in 10 seconds, what do you even do? Like, that's disgusting. It just doesn't happen. That doesn't happen in video games, much less real life. So again, you got to either blame the Bills defense on that, the scheme. What are they doing in that defense right there to allow 40 points on a dude, like that? It's crazy. I mean, timeouts obviously is a big deal. You got to have timeouts to be able to manage that. But yeah, it was just I couldn't believe they got 40 yards in 10 seconds. That was bananas.
But
Josh Allen had on the sideline said it all.
Bananas, like you said. And I'm just so impressed with all these guys, all these young players, because it's not even just Gabriel Davis. Moment wasn't too big.
Yeah.
Just all these young stars, man. Cooper Kupp today, like we said in the Rams game, and Cooper Kupp has had an all-time great year.
Yeah.
And has an all-time connection. I've been bragging on the connection that Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase have, obviously going back to LSU. But the connection that Matthew Stafford has in year 1 working with Cooper Kupp is unbelievable. I also give Matthew Stafford credit for him getting together and ramping with Odell because they're getting Odell to play at a pretty high level right now. And he's a perfect complementary threat on the outside to what Cooper Kupp is doing in the slot. But I mean, football right now is so much fun to watch.
That team's going to get Robert Woods back, which is a little scary. They got cap issues too, but I mean,
they're getting when is Robert Woods coming back?
He's coming off an ACL, so
Oh, you mean like next year?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? Is he coming back?
Okay. God, no. That would be funny though. But I mean, Tyreek Hill, 11 receptions, 150 yards. I mean, that touchdown he had where he's throwing the piece before he even passes the guy, that was just ridiculously disrespectful. But that guy is just so electric. Pat gets a lot of credit for that guy. That guy is hard covered, just like Pat is. So good luck defensive scheming those two guys and making them, one-dimensional. It's just too impossible.
Austin said, "I'm rooting for the Bengals."
You got to get a pass rush on them. You got to collapse that pocket. I mean, we saw it in the Super Bowl with Pat. They are beatable, but you really have to attack at the front four. And the question is whether or not we think the Bengals can do that. I'm going to say no, but
yeah, in the Super Bowl, those tackles got injured.
Right.
He's playing. When It was kind of like when we us as Cowboys fans when we had the Chaz Green experience. It's the timing of it was really really bad.
Yep. Let
But
nobody get 8 sacks.
we'll talk about some Cowboy stuff here.
The Rams. The Rams are trying to limit entry to LA residents, which is kind of funny. Well, let me say something real quick about what I think is going to happen next week. So a lot of people think that Niners fans are just going to storm this stadium again. I'm a little skeptical of that, and this is why. So the Cowboys are notorious for this as well. We have very expensive tickets, and so does LA. And when you have season tickets, typically you sell off your regular season tickets, and when the playoffs come, you are a season ticket holder, you're in your seat. So at week 18, when it was about 60%, I would say 49ers fan, and I was there, it was loud. They were very loud, and they had to go to a silent count. That is very true. Do I think that the Niners fans will show up for this game? Yes, I do. But I think it'll probably be more like 70% Rams, 30% Niners. I really don't expect them to be 60-40. I don't care how wishy-washy for the fans the Rams may or may not be. There's that glitz and glamour. It's almost like the Dodgers too with LA, where when we get a game like the NFC title game and the Super Bowl and all these things, where they got back-to-back home games potentially, I think you're going to see all of these, rich people, if you will, come out of the woodwork with their Rams hat on. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to be loud, right? Because we all know those guys usually just sit and watch. But that does mean that they're going to be taking a ticket away from a Niner fan. So I'll be curious to see what it's like. I think it's gonna be heavy Rams. We'll see how loud it can get. But just want to say that. That's an unpopular opinion. I think a lot of people think the Niners fans are going to run that stadium. I don't think so.
Actually, Venomous Viper, we can touch on the Packers 49ers game last night because I'm hearing a lot of excuses that were made, especially from Green Bay fans, and I need to address this. Number one, and this person here in their comment, you're right. The receivers did have a drop. George Kittle dropped what may have been a touchdown very early in that game where he was wide open. And Jimmy, early in the game, Jimmy was doing a good job of hitting people under pressure. My only real problem I had with Jimmy yesterday was the pick he threw. And it wasn't the decision to throw the ball. It was the fact that he does not have the arm strength to make that type of throw. If Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes is throwing that, like the way Kittle was separating in the end zone, that's what he was supposed to do. No issue with the decision. The thing is, he doesn't have the arm strength to put that ball almost out of bounds so that George Kittle can toe tap. Right. Or you see this all the time. You're throwing that ball out of bounds. He doesn't have the juice to get it there. Guy undercuts it, picks it off. My greater point with this, though, is the Packers fans that are complaining and saying, "Oh, well, there was some issues with the elements." You don't get to complain about elements.
It's a heated field, right? It's a heated field. Let's be clear.
On a home, but it's your field.
Yeah, you tout how hard it is to play there. Yeah,
and so I don't want to hear about, because I see Packers fans talking about, well, Aaron Rodgers was out there playing on a hockey rink. That wasn't the whole point. Because my thing is, if you're going to play up north and use that excuse, then build a dome.
Yeah,
build a dome. Don't give me this whole, we were playing on a hockey field, because the 49ers came up there from California and beat that ass.
Pretty sure it was worse in Buffalo as well, the weather elements. So
nonsense. I just wanted to address that some of the people that have been.
I mean, the opening script for Green Bay was perfect. They went right down the field. All my friends that are Niners fans were worried, though, admittedly. That being said, second half, or not even second half adjustments, immediate adjustments on the defensive end from the Niners. I mean, they locked it down after that. Locked it down. So shout out to those guys. And
3 points.
3 points. Yeah, that's unacceptable from the MVP. I don't care. I mean, you're at home. Devontae Adams was ripping down that field in that first drive. And then literally nothing after that. AJ Jones
had a big game.
They were tossing it out of the backfield, Aaron Jones. I mean, he had 9 touches, 129 yards. I mean, he was balling out of the backfield, but it was him and Adams, and that was it. And Adams got all of his love on the first drive, and then he disappeared. So, I mean, you got to ask the coaches. You got to ask Aaron, who is it? And LaFleur is a Shanahan product. He's supposed to be this guy that's going to out scheme you. Blah blah blah. Where is it?
Well, here's the funny part. All of these former Kyle Shanahan people keep losing to Kyle.
Right.
Because McVay has had the same problem that LaFleur has had. And this is now twice that LaFleur has lost a playoff game to Kyle Shanahan where he's had these issues. Here's my thing. I rather give credit to the 49ers, having just played them.
Yep.
My own team. Because everybody beat up my quarterback for a whole week. I had to listen to it a whole week about Dak didn't have the answers. We don't know if Dak's the guy, all this type of stuff. And then I watch them go up there and box up the MVP again. Yeah. And look, we can talk about same thing, Jimmy. You can talk about LaFleur, all this type of stuff. Aaron Rodgers made mistakes too. Yep. Aaron Rodgers has Alan Lazard wide open in the middle of the field in the fourth quarter for a big game, and he decides to throw a YOLO ball to Devontae Adams and disregard the play call and disregard where the defense is taking him and taking what the defense is giving him, I should say. So my point to say that is we have to be better as fans and watching all these games very intently. That's why I'm glad, we got to see the whole picture of quarterback play, good, bad, and great. We saw great quarterback play to end this. Yeah, we saw Tom Brady make mistakes in his game. Scotty Miller's open. Tom Brady missed on a fourth down.
Yeah, nobody's immune. Everybody has the same problems with that kind of stuff. I mean, with the Niners and Rams, when they go next week, they both have exceptional pass rushes, right? And the Niners is probably the most underrated. They rush 4 just about every down, and they get pressure. And they have banged up corners, and they got a lot of holes in the secondary, but it doesn't matter because they don't get enough time to throw the ball. So it's crazy how they get a pass rush on 4 people.
That is always there's certain things that never change in football. The 4-man rush, when you can get pressure with 4, like real pressure, and drop
changes
7,
everything. Changes everything.
Changes everything. It changes everything because the thing is, really, your only solution out of it is going to be mobility. That's why Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes are so tough because they'll just run when stuff like that's going on. So that's what makes them a little different. But Matthew Stafford's going to have some of the same issues that we saw Matthew Stafford have in Week 18. Yeah, with the same issues. Where they think they have a window and they don't, and then they're unsure. Aaron Rodgers got sacked 5 times. Dak Prescott got sacked 5 times. Eric Armstead, you see the way Nick Bosa works. Relentless. Fred Warner. I ate crow. That's one thing I'm objective. I ate crow. I didn't give the 49ers ample credit and love when we were playing them. Part of it is I'm emotional. I'm a fan, whatever. But really watching them over these last few weeks, starting with that Rams game on Week 18 and them getting healthy with the right pieces and what they do with Debo across the board, they're bullies. They're flat-out bullies. That's how you have to play football if you're going to play football with your quarterback being so shaky too. And so that's something where tactically the Rams are going to have to actually get over another mental hurdle. This week, the mental hurdle was getting just past the Brady stuff because the Bucs weren't good today. The Bucs were terrible today. As a football team, they were undisciplined. They kept getting penalties like we did. They were blowing assignments. They weren't communicating. Yeah. They had a whole bunch of crap go on. But I felt like the whole is it going to be 28-3 and dudes start fumbling out of nowhere all of a sudden and then BS starts happening? Yeah. It's just that to me is more psychological. So I think next week, going against Kyle is going to be for their third matchup is going to be key.
Yeah, and the Rams also have a couple times now gotten a healthy lead and blew it. So that's another thing to watch. When Week 18, Rams were clicking right down the field, up and down the field, no problem. Niners come all the way back. This game, huge lead against Tom Brady. Can't do anything right. Turning it over constantly, getting sacked constantly. Let him come back. So there's teams that you can do that to and teams you can't do that to. So, and San Francisco's 2-0 against them this year. Now, here's the other thing. We all know this in the NFC East even. It's really hard to beat the same opponent 3 times in one season. Really, really hard. So I think if I had to point to one key thing, I would say, yeah, they have Shanahan, but can you beat the same team in a team from your division 3 straight times? That's really hard to do. And 2 of those 3 are on the road. So it would be an incredible achievement for the 49ers to go in there and get that win. And if they do, you gotta like what their chances to win it all. I mean, it's just that simple. They got an elite coach, they got an above average quarterback, they got an elite defense, at least in the pass rush. Nick Bosa's healthy. I mean, the sky's the limit for them right now.
Nathan, I did see it. I tweeted about it.
That was nasty.
That was filthy.
Yeah.
And I feel like, because I know how Kyle thinks, I feel like he saw what Kellen Moore was doing with Connor McGovern in our package, and he decided to take that shit to another level.
Show you how it's done.
Start motioning linemen.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you're going to see other people start doing that, especially on short yardage. It was terrifying. Think about if you're a linebacker, Jimmy, and you allow Trent Williams to get momentum like that.
I'm not picking that block up. I'm Deion Sanders, that dude. I'm going down. Not making that block. Sorry about you.
No.
75-25 Niners fans, you're on crack. That's not happening. That's not happening. It didn't happen in week 18. I got video and photo evidence of it. It's not happening. I do respect the sentiment, though. I do think the Niners fans will be there. I mean, they're right down the road, right? They're going to be there. But it ain't going to be 75-25. That's just disrespectful.
Hold on. Declan Jackson said, I feel like Niners-Rams, a bad matchup for Bengals and Chiefs. Those fronts versus those O-lines won't be pretty. All right, so let's discuss this. If I'm not mistaken, did the Niners – now, this is why the season is so crazy because it's such a long year, and I thought the Niners played –
Was it last year that happened? Yeah.
Right? Like, the season feels like it's 3 – it feels like we've been in the season for 3 years now.
Okay, well, let's talk about the Bengals first. They had 9 sacks, and they still won.
Allowed.
So maybe it'll be a factor. To me, it's will there be turnovers in those sacks? If there's strip sacks and stuff like that, yeah, I think it could be really, really bad for the Bengals. Chiefs, I mean, unless they have a performance like they did in the Super Bowl where they have no tackles and they're just, they're feasting on Pat Mahomes. Yeah, I think he's going to be fine because he's good at moving the pocket. It doesn't really matter. He'll get out of there. And for that matter, Josh Allen did too. Josh Allen was running out of the pocket all day long. No problem. Some of these guys can make those throws. Bad matchup. I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
So I wanted to check. That's what I wanted to check was the Niners schedule. Give me 1 second. Because I was moderating here in the comments.
My neighbor likes to remind me that team started 3-5.
Okay, so they did. I knew I wasn't tripping. Niners played the Bengals and beat them 26-23 this year in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
What week was that? That game went to overtime.
Yep.
Now it's starting to come back to me. That game went to overtime. This was actually week 14 they played, it looks like. Yeah. Yeah. So Jamar Chase had a big game. T. Higgins had a big game. But Niners pull it out.
49ers boombox, Lando, is elite. I'm really jealous.
It's elite.
They were I mean, I saw the tape of them coming out of the Cowboys visitor locker room. It was impressive. I ain't gonna lie. They look like they were ready to smack people in the mouth, and I love it. I love every bit of that. I think the Titans could be that team. I mean, that was the thing that surprised me the most about the Titans game was I expected them to be way more physical. I felt like they got pushed around a little bit.
Who, the Titans?
Yeah. A little bit. Not like they just weren't their normal.
Are you talking about on? I felt that way about them, I guess, with our offensive line. I
Yeah.
thought defensively they did what they could.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they got their sacks and they were getting in there on the defense, but just like the physicality in the run game didn't feel right. I mean, really the biggest run was from Deontay Foreman. Great run on in later in the game, but I just didn't. I mean, you could say like maybe Henry wasn't healthy and all that, but I mean, I don't know. I just felt like on the line they just really weren't smacking people like they normally do.
Well, the thing about them is everyone in their mom knew what their game plan was going to be, and that's where they got Ryan Tannehill got exposed. Let's call a spade a spade. Ryan Tannehill got exposed.
Yeah,
you can't throw 3 interceptions.
No,
you're really playing in the most. We talk about Jimmy G, but even Jimmy G gets a little bit more responsibility and leeway than Ryan Tannehill gets. Ryan Tannehill's not even really making reads. Let's keep it a buck. He is being asked to run play action, and then they'll run Julio or AJ on a crosser. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. And so anytime he really has to like drop back and actually go through progressions, he's awful.
Yeah. It's AJ Brown.
Nice ball to AJ Brown for the touchdown where he got him on the back shoulder. But those are defined reads where he can just, take his time and throw a football. What I like to see, different level of quarterbacking is when you don't know who you're going to throw to on that down and you got to make something happen. And you can still, come in and throw a good ball regardless of where you're going. Defined reads is a little bit different. So Ryan Tannehill got exposed because if I'm the Bengals, the way that they played that game defensively, I thought was common sense. I'm not letting them just run for 200-something. We've seen King Henry go off for 200-something yards in playoff game. I'm putting 7 people in the box. Ryan Tannehill beat me. And at times, he hit the A.J. Brown throw, but we believe he's not going to make those throws consistently. We believe he's not that guy.
And it's a solid bet.
We're going to play him as such.
It's a solid bet. It's not that dude. Yeah.
and it worked out for them.
Yeah, Texas over our lifetime. We know what he's capable of doing. Yeah. The turnovers, I mean, obviously, if you turn the ball over 3 times, it's going to be hard to win the game anyway. But
what's good, TD? I actually heard a lot of people saying Foreman should have played more just because of chemistry with the line, and he had been running pretty well. And a lot of people comparing that to Tony Pollard. Just how these coaches and these staffs decide to, kind of go back. Because, I mean, look, King Henry hadn't run since Halloween. It had been a minute. And
I like the idea of them splitting carries. I think they balanced it well. They had 120 yards together. That wasn't a bad day. They just look different. That's what I meant. Like, they had yards. They just didn't look like they like the 49ers coming out with a boombox. They didn't look like that. Like they didn't look like they were smacking people like they normally do. So, but
that's why I respect the 49ers though, because that's their whole culture.
Yeah.
Like that permeates throughout their organization. And I think it's interesting because DeMeco Ryans, this is really what his first year as defensive coordinator, taking over for Robert Saleh, who's the head coach now for New York Jets. Yeah. But, these Shanahan people who are starting to go all over the league, DeMeco Ryans going to be the next one. Houston Texans, if y'all are listening, if you want to interview him. He's doing a great job.
That guy should just throw the tape on the table and say, let me know when just let me know how much you want to give me and I'll say yes or no. There's no reason why that guy shouldn't be a head coach immediately. No reason at all.
He's done a fantastic job. So, no, I agree. Lucas saying Cincinnati will shock you? They've been doing this all year with wins.
I hope you're right. I'm rooting for him. I really am.
I like Cincinnati, brother. Don't group me in with another group. Jimmy and I, we're on board, brother. I like Joe Burrow. He
Listen,
the one.
I'm
Joey's
a
the one.
under. I know it because I'm a Cowboy fan. It may not seem this way, but I mean, I'm an underdog junkie. So now the Cowboys haven't been good in a long time, so we should be the underdog probably most times. But I always love rooting for the underdog. So this is easy for me, right? In a world of these Final Four teams, this is easy for me to root for Cincy.
All right, let's talk matchups a little bit though, Jimmy.
Yeah.
So Bengals Chiefs. That was an explosive matchup just a few weeks ago. And Marlon said he wants to speak on the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
I respect Brother Marlon, so I want to give him his piece. Brother Marlon, what do you want to say about the Titans? Because I can tell by your message you sound upset.
I call them the Houston Oilers. That probably won't make them happy. But respect to the Houston Oilers.
And then this guy, so we got some people here from California. So Sacktown.
Yeah, 75-25.
So Sacktown here, I have a comment up, says Los Angeles is Niners and Raiders country with a mixture of other teams' fan bases. Yep, we know it's a transplant city. Mm-hmm. The Chargers and Rams come second to those other teams. Straight facts. That's well known within the state of California. What say you to that, Jimmy?
Just watch. That's what I'll say to that. I mean, look, you said it was going to be 75-25. It didn't even happen in week 18.
The Rams and Chargers fan base. Now, they will grow over time. I think I lost Jimmy for a second. No, they'll grow over time. Alex Ortega said the AFC quarterback battles will be epic for years to come. I think I lost Jimmy for a sec. We got you back. Can you hear me, Jimmy?
Man, yeah, I'm back.
We got you back.
Yeah, I would just say, what happened in week 18 then? You know? They didn't have, we see it as Cowboys fans all the time. Every time in the regular season, the lower bowl is full of the Green Bay Packers, the Steelers fans, the Niners fans, insert team name, the Raiders fans. Like, it always happens. But when the playoffs happen, as you saw with your own eyes, Steve, the Niners did not travel to Cowboy Stadium. And I heard a lot of San Francisco fans said they would. They did not. There might have been 20% fans there that were 49ers. I'll give you 20%, maybe less. And I've got video and picture evidence of that as well, not what you saw on TV. But what happened in week 18 is not going to happen this week. We'll see. But there will be no silent count. I can guarantee you that. That was crazy.
That was crazy. I hope that's not the case, man, because you're gonna have to come on next week. If that happens again, you're gonna have to come on and say something.
And in Orlando's point, it looks like they've already tried to mitigate that, with loopholes in the ticketing system. So not only do I think they're not going to get the tickets, but the team's doing their best to keep them out on top of that. So they're going to give like 1,000 or 10,000 tickets to like a bunch of Hollywood junkies or something. Come in.
So I want to get back to Marlon, since Marlon has some thoughts about the Titans. Having Julio and AJ and being that man on offense is fireable. He said, I don't understand why they had Henry on one leg out there instead of using Julio, ultimate bozo game.
Well, that tells you they don't trust their quarterback.
That's the quarterback problem. I agree. And again, they are built that way. Marlon, they are built around, but to understand, that's the thing at this level of the sport, you got to adjust what you got. And you have to adjust quickly on the fly. Hey, Henry's not, rolling this way or whatever. We got to go this direction. This is why I keep harping on the importance of coaching at this level. and understanding certain things, and instead of some of these coaches out here that beat their head against the wall and say, well, this is what we do, this is how we're built, and we're going to keep charging forward and do X, Y, Z. Even from a development process, like we said with Mahomes and Josh Allen, everyone's playing these deep safeties against these guys because they don't want them to pop off. They've had to learn how to take what the defense gives them. And that's why they're unguardable now. So the Titans I guarantee you the Titans are going to be in the quarterback market because for them to have a number one seed, and if it felt to me watching the game, they felt limited. You know what I mean? Like I felt like even with just a little bit better, they could have gotten enough margin. Because when your defense is playing that way against Joe Burrow, you should be able to get enough to put that game away, and they couldn't.
Yeah, and I don't mean to not talk about this matchup as much as the other games, but to me, this game across the board, when you watch the game, when you look at the stats, like it's as simple as Tannehill's 3 turnovers. I mean, there's not a lot to break down in this game. It was a pretty even game across the board with both teams. It was just a matter of you had one quarterback that turned the ball over and one that didn't.
And you know, had to navigate just with that terrible offensive line. Mike, I said this earlier. The NFL messed up by letting the Steelers get in the playoffs. That needed to be Justin Herbert. That won't happen again. Justin Herbert will be in the mix because there's so many good young quarterbacks right now that are it's exciting time. See, to me right now, this quarterback era is really about to pop off, but I think this is a golden age for receivers right now. It seems like there's so many different versatile receivers out here. Like, did you guys see what Tyreek Hill did today? We haven't even talked about that.
I've mentioned it. He's unguardable. Unguardable. Like a lot of people give Pat Mahomes so much credit, which he's great. No doubt about it. Sidearm throws, gets out of the pocket. He's elusive. No doubt about it. He extends the play every time. But Tyreek Hill, I mean, he's always open. And like I said, he was throwing the peace sign 5 yards behind the defender in front of him. Literally like at an angle, like you're not going to catch me. That's ridiculous. And in a league where just the smallest disrespect ends in, you know, almost in careers sometimes, this dude has been doing it forever. He pieces out on everybody. So he's the most underrated piece they have. I hear more about Kelsey. I hear more about Pat. That dude is ridiculous. That's it. I mean, I've never seen not turning around in front of the man. That was insane.
That was a whole level of disrespect. I agree, but he doesn't care.
Now, it almost didn't age well because they did give up a touchdown right after that. But 13 seconds is all you need, apparently. So who are you going to blame there? The Buffalo D? I'm going to blame the Buffalo D or the coaching or whatever you want to call that. But you cannot give up 40 yards in 10 seconds. You deserve to lose if that happens.
Hey, it's not sexy, but Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, Rodgers
on the Titans.
Steelers.
Saints. Titans. I mean, we'll see what happens with.
Did he pull a Favre and go to Minnesota?
We'll see. We'll see. I mean,
guys
if
like
I'm Green Bay, though, you can't go to Jordan Love.
I totally see him stay in division.
I don't think he's going to stay in the division. But he can't go. They can't go to Jordan Love. He's not good.
Yeah,
he's not good.
They have cap issues too, right? Am I making that up? I feel like they do. I think that's going to be the problem for the Packers. They're not going to be able to keep him happy because they don't have any money. Yeah, he turned another gear, 100%.
Bruh said we need Cam Chancellor to teach him a lesson. Declan, yeah. I'm not sure if you're aware, the NFL is out of that business, man.
Touch football now. Yeah.
You saw Eric Weddle. He came back out of nowhere.
That was
it blasted a dude.
1 second later or earlier, and it would have been a continuation of that drive. That was a lucky thing too.
That was a lucky thing that went against Brady, though.
It was.
To
Yeah.
be fair.
Yeah.
I
Packers
do.
have issues. I thought they did because there's no way they can keep that dude happy. He's already, and this is what we talked about before, Steve. Aaron Rodgers has the cleanest road to the Super Bowl that he's ever had. Right? He had number 1 seed, no Russell Wilson. Yes, the 49ers matchup was a bad matchup for him, and they obviously proved that. But that being said, like, this was the year of no excuses. You don't have McCarthy anymore. And yet here he is.
3 straight seasons, 13 or more wins, first team in NFL history.
Out here making excuses again. He's out here saying, like, I can't play for this team no more. Y'all don't have enough talent on the field for me. That's basically what he's saying. He was the one that wanted Randall Cobb back. How'd that work out? So, I mean, he's calling all the shots, but then he's mad when they don't work out. Well, at some point you got to look yourself in the mirror. Now, he's going to go to another team, but I can't see him staying with the Packers. I really don't.
Aaron's a marvelous talent. But I'm more interested in these other young quarterbacks, and I'm happy it's going in the direction. And I know Matthew Stafford, you can feel however you want to feel about Matthew Stafford. I just think he's a really cool dude, and I'm happy for him. And I really like watching Matthew Stafford play. I always thought, I'm glad Matthew Stafford right now is putting on for the Calvin Johnsons, for the Barry Sanders, for the voiceless in Detroit who had their career sucked away. So
Von Miller too. I mean, Von Miller. I mean, Denver wasn't.
Von Miller won in Detroit, in Denver
with Ware, but like, I still like Denver. Kind of fell off hard for the last few years. So like, I feel like he was just going through the motions. So I kind of feel happy for him too to be able to be in a winning situation again.
Sure, but at least at some point in his career, he was on a team with like Peyton Manning and John Elway was taking it seriously. Right. You could never say that about the Detroit Lions organization. Never, right? No. And so for Matthew, I'm saying all this because I'm not trying to avoid the Aaron Rodgers thing. It's just, I'm with you. I'm tired of the excuses. He needs to be held accountable. And he doesn't like being held accountable. And that's just facts. He is one of the most talented people I've ever seen throw a football my entire life. No doubt about it. I put him up there with the Marinos of the world, the just natural arm talent all freaking day long. But he needs to be, but when you're this talented and you guys are telling me that as a Cowboys fan, I should feel as though Dak Prescott can never make it to the Super Bowl because Aaron Rodgers is in the way, because all these quarterbacks in the way. But who's in Aaron Rodgers' way?
Yeah.
How come he hasn't been to a Super Bowl since 2011? With the Packers are a good organization.
He's 0-4 against the Niners now in the playoffs.
He's 0-4 against the Niners. That's with Colin Kaepernick, right? That's with 2 games against Jimmy G.
Mm-hmm.
Come on now. I mean.
And I don't think anybody's out there saying Jimmy G or Colin Kaepernick is on the same level as Aaron Rodgers.
No.
That's your excuse.
No.
At first it was McCarthy, right? It was his fault. Okay, fair. Whatever. He's gone. But now what? That's what, he had to win it this year. It hurt his legacy. It 100% did. There's no doubt about it. Then you throw in all the vax stuff, on top of that, it's just been a bad year for him, really. Outside of the MVP, which is a great thing for him, probably, but nobody wants to win the MVP and lose in the first round or this divisional round for them.
Declan, I respect you, but these are the excuses I'm talking about. They wanted the game on these. Why do y'all? I've never heard in my life. So let me say this, Jimmy, and I'm gonna let you react because this comment here is what I've been talking about this weekend since they lost.
Right.
I have not heard until this weekend. I've never heard anybody complain about the conditions in Green Bay in regards to Green Bay being impacted by it. I've never heard that.
Green Bay.
Aaron Rodgers coming into the game had 32 starts under 0 degrees. or not under freezing temperatures, excuse
Yeah.
me, under freezing temperatures, 32 career starts. That's 2 seasons worth of football. The whole point of them getting home field and all of us, myself included, saying I don't want to go to Lambeau is because you don't want to play in those conditions.
Right.
You cannot then turn that back around and say, oh, well, anybody would have struggled under those conditions. Because you know why? This is the last thing I'm going to say. I did a post-game reaction here, and I still have the receipts. When we played the Patriots in that freaking monsoon, do you remember that monsoon that happened in New England a couple years ago? And you guys told me I was making excuses on why we couldn't throw the ball.
Yeah.
But here we go with the excuses. I don't want to hear it. Because when it was put up or shut up time on that last drive, Jimmy G was able to throw the football. And that was his first start in below freezing temperatures.
And I mean, both teams ran the ball. Right? I mean, I'm pulling up the stats here. I mean, they both ran the ball. Not as good as you'd want, but I mean, in weather conditions that were so bad, Aaron went right down the field and scored a touchdown on opening drive. So was it bad on the opening drive? Or, I mean, 129 yards for Aaron Jones on 9 receptions. Like, that sounds to me like not only did he catch the ball, but he ran in space. But what he didn't do is turn that into a touchdown. And when Adams went 9 for 90, he also didn't get a touchdown. So
the Aaron Jones play, we got to give credit to that safety for catching him, though. That was a hell of a play to at least prevent the touchdown that leads to a blocked field goal. Let me ask you, Green Bay fans out there, this. Why hasn't your special teams coordinator been given his walking papers?
Yeah.
Why did you guys only have 10 people on the field on the last play? These are the questions we need to be asking.
That punt block came from dead up the center. Dead up the center. Like, there's certain things that are inexcusable when it comes to blocks. And to me, it's like if somebody gets by on the edge and they called it perfectly on the snap, more power to them. Great job. But like, if you come straight up the center untouched like that and get a hand on that ball, that's just bad execution, right? Like, we all know about that. So as Cowboys fans, we know what bad execution looks like. That was bad execution. I mean, you can't. I mean, when's the last time in a playoff game there's been a blocked field goal and a blocked punt, period?
Right. Those things are supposed to be cleaned up.
They had the game, man. My buddy that's a Niners fan, he was sweating. No chance. And as soon as that punt block, I was like, oh, I cannot believe that just happened. Because, I mean, scoop it. And by the way, that ball was in the air for, it seemed like 10 seconds.
Dude.
I was just like, they were looking.
I couldn't even, like, everybody's like, where the hell is the ball?
Into the sand. And then he's like, there it is, scoop. Yeah, that was great. I was just like, but you know, how lucky do you have to be to like that ball to just fall right in front of the 2 Niners players? Just let me grab that real quick. And, you know, that's where the snow helped the Niners too, because, you know, if that ball in a normal game, that ball hits on its edge, it rolls out of bounds, it bounces a weird way, it touches another player, all he's saying is, and there's 5 people that tackle it and it rolls into the end zone. With that snow, it just kind of plopped there and sat like, who wants to grab me? So it was just kind of funny that, you know, just lucky bounces at the end of the day.
You know, the other thing I'll say is this. There was a Niners fan. Look, hey, you guys, I give y'all credit. Y'all are an annoying bunch. Y'all are loud and arrogant, but y'all know football, and I give credit where credit is due. I've always done that. You guys, there was a Niners fan that came on here, a very obnoxious guy during our Cowboys stuff. But whoever that brother was, he was absolutely correct. And his point was about competition and you know, basically the Niners, he was like, look, we have been through a gauntlet in the NFC West and our division is different. And it turns out that he was correct because that's what we have in the finals. And I'll give him credit because he didn't just shit on the Cowboys schedule. He was like, that's why we're going to beat Cowboys. And he said, that's why we're going to beat the Packers because the Packers have also been loading up on bad teams too. Yeah. And I appreciated him at least being fair. If you're going to, because the Cowboys seem to only be the team. We always get isolated with the bad teams thing. Yeah. And the Packers got off the hook. because Aaron Rodgers owns Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
But at least they were objective enough to say, hey, we are built different because we were battle tested with all these wars that we have to go through within our division, which is why those two teams are playing each other for the right to go to the Super Bowl from the.
I mean, the grit award for the NFL goes to the Niners hands down. It's not even close. Like, they are the most physical. Like, they refuse to lose. They're gonna literally cut their arm off in the process. They're that team, no doubt about it. I just thought at this point that at some point talent was going to get in the way of that. They don't have as much talent as the two previous teams they played. But somebody just made a comment of us right here, Declan here. In a game like that, conditions like that, I mean, usually it's the team that has the most simplistic scheme at that point that's going to win the game because you're not trying to do all this trickeration and whatnot. So I would agree with that. But I would also say that, Shanahan's that guy that does that kind of stuff. He's doing all kinds of crazy zone schemes and running end arounds and all these things. But like at the end of the day, it was special teams that won that game. I mean, it was an evenly matched game across the board the entire game. Like, nobody gave an inch. And then it was a punt block. At the end of the day, that's what happened. And to be good, you got to be lucky too.
Well, I also give him credit for how he was using his personnel because he did decide to put Debo on kick return.
Yeah,
which I thought was a nice little wrinkle. And then the very last play of the game to get Robbie Gould in the field goal range, they run the ball with Debo up the middle, and he gets 9 because he's a dog. And like you said, they will cut their arm off to win. They'll do whatever it takes. Debo's limping off the field. Juszczyk's limping off the field. Bosa's limping all over the place. They don't care.
The Niners aren't doing what they're doing without Debo. I mean, I like Elijah Mitchell. He's a Sunbelt guy. I've seen him. He's a great runner, but like, look, man, like if I got to line up against the 49ers and say I just got to stop Elijah Mitchell and Kittle, which Kittle's not even been touching the ball that much because they're letting him block nonstop. If that's my two, I feel good about that matchup. But when it's Debo, it's a whole different deal. And I credit Shanahan more than I do Debo being some great player. Like, he is a great player. But, like, if he was on any other team in the league, he wouldn't be utilized like this.
Nobody would use him like that. I agree.
So, do I think Debo is the MVP of the league? Well, it depends on what you're talking about. If Debo was on any other team, he wouldn't be an MVP candidate. So, but you can make the same argument for Tyreek Hill. A lot of players like this. So,
this is why, Jimmy, you're going into a conversation here I want to touch on before we wrap. Situations matter.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes wouldn't be Patrick Mahomes if not for Andy Reid. Let's be very clear about this. If Patrick Mahomes had gotten drafted by the Detroit Lions, what becomes of his career, right? Or somebody, just a team that doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right. Now, there's some players that are so talented and so gifted that they'll overcome and still be good, like Stafford. And on the Lions, like Stafford.
I was going to say Goff. Look at Goff.
Jared Goff got drafted, and he was about to be he was a nightmare that first year with Jeff Fisher, right?
Yeah, but I mean, he went to the Super Bowl, right? And now you'll get to see what he can do at the Lions. So
situations matter. But this is why, people talk about why they drafted Trey Lance. They drafted Trey Lance because they're seeing what Josh Allen is doing. They're seeing what these quarterbacks are doing. So they drafted the guy that has those traits. He's the rawest of them all.
Yep.
But they have time.
Mm-hmm.
They have development. They have a plan of how they want to use their chess pieces so they can get away taking a risk that other teams can't take.
Right.
Because the same way the Chiefs traded up to get Patrick Mahomes, who was raw. Patrick Mahomes said when he got drafted, he didn't even know how to identify a mic, right? He said that. He said, they had to sit down and teach me this stuff.
Yep.
I was not taught that in college. So, but when you go to the right place, and that's where just luck, honestly, Tom Brady ends up on the Jets. Do they does he get developed early in those years to become Tom Brady? I don't know.
Yeah.
So we gotta pay attention to where people end up. To Jimmy's point, if Debo Samuel ends up on a team where the OC is not creative or the offensive scheme doesn't allow it, you don't know Debo like you know him today.
Yeah. So who you got in these final four?
Yeah, let's talk matchup. So Rams 49ers.
3.5-point favorite already. That line dropped before we started. Rams
Who's
are 3.
favorite? Rams?
Yep.
Rams 3.5.
Yep.
All right. So y'all hit up BOSR.com right now if you like that number. Get your bets in.
I mean, I think it's probably a field goal game, honestly.
Just knowing what's at stake and that they can play back-to-back games there.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to go early. Right now, my gut says Rams. Like you said, it's hard to beat the same team 3 times. It's just that Sean McVay is 0-6 against Kyle. I mean, that's a big number, right? And so at some point, the breakthrough's got to happen. You know what? If Kirby Smart can beat Nick Saban at some point, Sean McVay at some point has to be due. And he's got to avenge the loss of his brother Matt LaFleur. So he's going to do it for LaFleur and the other former.
I'm also going to need McVay to not be dancing in the end zone when they go up 10-0. Number one. Number two, there's something to be said for confidence. When you have beaten a team that many times, I don't care if you're at home or on the road, like the Niners believe they are going to beat this team. So the Rams, to me, for them to win this game, I think, again, Stafford has to be clean. He can't throw picks. And I think he has to not fumble it as well because there could be a strip sack coming from Bosa. He has to play a clean game, and I think they can get it done. But he can't throw picks. So I think it's just that simple. I think Jimmy's always due for one. I always say that. He's always going to throw one. He's pretty much proved that.
Jimmy doesn't have a touchdown yet in the playoffs.
That's right. He throws a pick every game. So he's going to do that. So my point is that if the Rams at home in a dome with no elements and mostly their fans, just wait, can handle their business and not turn the ball over, they're going to be fine. Because I don't think Jimmy G can outduel Matt Stafford without interceptions involved. I don't think that can happen. But
they're not built that way.
Right.
They're not built to duel. They're built to run and misdirection, do all this other stuff. They're not built to get into throw for throw, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, and even still, like, when Jimmy had to throw even in the Super Bowl, a few years ago when they played the Chiefs, they were balanced then. It's just that at the end of the game, Jimmy had an opportunity to hit that big throw. I think it was to Emmanuel Sanders, and, just that much, right? Or else we're talking about Jimmy G in a whole different light if he hits that one throw that he missed by an inch. So,
yeah, scheme-wise, they run that ball nonstop, and then Kittle sneaks out, and they're like, oh wait, he's not blocking no more. That's kind of their offense now. It's not. They don't have like an outside receiver that's like gonna kill you, right? It's just Debo. So the guy that's gonna be their trickeration, if you will, towards the end is gonna be Kittle. If they got to go down the field, they're gonna use Kittle, and he's good, man. He's elite. He's top 3 easy tight end. Especially if you incorporate his blocking scheme. I mean, he's a ridiculous blocker.
I think the Rams, the message this week is control our own. Romo has his Romo report before the game and all that. And, it looks overly simplistic, but it's true, right? Like for the Chiefs today, I think he had don't beat yourself. Well, that applies to the Rams in this game.
Right.
No more fumbles.
Right.
No more fumbles, guys. Because seriously, if you take away the fumbles and all that's now granted, look, Fred Warner forced a fumble in the Packers game. One could say, Steve, well, fumbles go both ways because I'm forcing a fumble. It's not like Cam Akers just decided to plop the ball out. Got like Sue today, for example. Sue comes in and makes I feel like some people are going to say I'm not giving credit to the defender for forcing the fumble. But my point is, if you have proper ball security technique and you emphasize that, you're not going to fumble the football. That's my point. Yeah. So Matthew Stafford, moment has not been too big so far. It's looked great. Might be just the year of the Georgia Bulldogs altogether, where your school wins a natty and you win a Super Bowl. We got to keep the party going. We can't see the Matthew Stafford we saw in Week 18, right? Where all of a sudden the interceptions pop up, the YOLO balls that Aaron Rodgers started to throw in his game, the indecisiveness that we saw from Dak Prescott. We can't see all those things. Take what the 49ers give you. Those corners are still food. They threw out Josh Norman at the end of the game, right? Like, there's people that can get beat. You got to figure out how to take advantage of some of those matchups. I do like the Rams in this game. I think it's something they have to overcome psychologically, because the 49ers are going to come in there and play that. They're going to come in there with the boombox. Kyle Shanahan's going to come in there, and he's going to have that energy towards Sean McVay. Like, bro, you've never beaten me. Right? And it doesn't matter who I have at quarterback. I don't really give a shit. Like, you've never beaten me. And so they've got to overcome that. Yeah. And I think they will. Yeah. Let's go to AFC.
Yeah. As much as I want the Bengals to win this game, I would never put money on the Bengals in this game. I hope it's a shootout like it was before.
That's not a disrespect.
Pat just plays different in the playoffs, man. It's just, like I said, it's almost like a cheat code. They're playing at home. The place is loud. It's the loudest stadium in the league. Again, like today, they gave up 9 sacks. They somehow win. I just don't think that happens against Pat. Like, you can't be that leaky on the front. I just can't see it happening. I think it was a good run for the Bengals. I think it ends after this, but I think it'll be a great game still. I think it'll be, a Big 12 matchup. It'll be touchdown, 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 touchdown. I think it could be really, take the over. But yeah, I just can't. To me, the Bills were the team that could beat them, and by golly, they almost did.
Shout out to Josh Allen, man. Again, the winter soldier. We saw you. We saw your powers on full display. He is not going away. Now, Joey B, he's coming too. Here's the thing about Joey B. Of all the guys, young quarterback in terms of mental temperament, to me, I think he might have the strongest that I've seen. Nothing phases Joe Burrow. This has been the case since college. When you're playing, I watched this guy in the middle of Tuscaloosa be fearless. I watched him in the middle of Austin, Texas be fearless. No matter where he's gone, nothing phases Joe Burrow. He gets to the NFL. He has no offensive line. He knows he's going to get hit. He still delivers the football accurately. Right. Unbelievable. That is a talent within itself to have that ability. Jamar Chase won me my fantasy championship because of what he did to the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, he went crazy, right? And so if you're the Chiefs,
and Matthew got hurt in this game real early,
right?
So that's going to be something to look at,
right? And Gabriel, you don't think they saw what Gabriel Davis did today?
They're eating. They're capable, man. I know you like this wide receiver corp is the best in the league. To me, it just comes down to the O-line. Like,
it's the
and the Chiefs were everywhere today. They were getting through. So I just curious to see in that loud ruckus environment at Arrowhead what Burrow does. I think he's capable. I agree with you. I just think that
the offensive line's going to get in the way.
Machine at this point. This isn't new for them.
Well, yeah, that too, right? Like Patrick
matters.
Patrick knows how to carve up these defenses. He's going to use it. That's the other thing. Like, he uses his legs so much more in the playoffs than he does in regular season games. I think that's purposeful. And he's just been on the money recently. They've really started clicking. They're getting enough from the run stuff and screen game. Like, they figured out how to use Jerick McKinnon all of a sudden.
CEH is healthy again, so that's another thing.
Clyde's out here running around. So
he had a good game today. It wasn't great, but it was serviceable.
Brother,
The
you
other
missed
thing
the best
was
playoff
mix-
weekend we've ever seen, brother.
it was great. I mean, that's the other thing is Mixon, right? If Mixon can get some yards and they can rely on Mixon, and then you can start seeing some play action and stuff like that with Chase and these guys, then the Chiefs are going to be in trouble. But it just depends on if Mixon can get going. I mean, they won this game today because of Mixon. I mean, that touchdown that he got was critical. So, or yesterday, I should say. It's all one day to me.
It's all well.
It's
Here's
blessed.
the other thing too. We're talking
So,
about this weekend. Like I thought, one of the best playoff games that we don't talk about enough that I remember growing up was the Niners Packers wild card game between Steve Young and Brett Favre. I don't know if you remember this game, Jimmy, but
mhm.
it was the Terrell Owens caught it game. There was like
Yep.
3 seconds left, and he caught in the middle. He got blasted, and he scored a
Yep.
touchdown. And Steve Young took his helmet off and all that. Like I thought that was one of the best football
Mhm.
games I've ever seen. This what I saw today, it even tops that. I mean, just
3 road
my
teams
gosh.
walking it off with field goals. That's crazy.
And then the Chiefs walk off themselves. Like,
I mean, anytime you get an overtime playoff game, that's just a beautiful thing. I mean, we'd all like to see the rules be a little different, but that's really the only people saying that are the teams that lose those games, So, I mean, I think Kelsey did an interview not that long ago where he was butthurt about it when they lost on overtime to Tom Brady. So, it is what it is. Be nice to see another shot from Josh there, but you got to make a stop too.
it's part of the game.
I disagree with that, Julius, because I mean, when does he not do everything himself? I mean, that's what they do. Pat runs all over the damn place and says, I'm going to run it or I'm not going to run it. I'm going to throw it sideways. I'm going to throw it to Hill. I'm going to throw it to Kill. I mean, even Pringle had a touchdown today. Like that's what he does. I agree. Joe Mixon, that's the key for Cincinnati to me. If Cincinnati can run the ball, they're going to be in business.
They have to run the ball.
They need to win the time of possession.
They have to. That is a must. They have to run the ball.
And they're a good running team. One of the best. So I would like
help the offensive line.
I'm rooting for the Bengals.
I don't think Tom Brady's going to retire.
I hope the Bengals do it. No, he's not going to retire. There's no way he retires after that. He's going to give it one more go.
Oh, okay. So TD Live, this is a comment I agree with. This wasn't it was a very poorly executed. It was actually the opposite of a football game from what we saw with Bills Chiefs. Bills Chiefs was good football.
It was, yeah.
Good coaching, good adjustments, great talent, people making plays on talent. Rams Bucks was entertaining because you had two teams that could not get out their own way. It was ridiculous.
Turnover fest. Yeah.
The dude snapped the ball over Stafford's head by a mile after
they got the ball on a turnover. Literally back-to-back turnovers.
That's not good football. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
Very entertaining. It was a WTF game, but it wasn't a well-played football game.
Yes, two teams trying to lose. I agree, TD. Yeah, for sure.
I hear you, brother.
Oh, Austin.
That's on us, though.
See, that's the thing that kills me about the NFC is just like I couldn't root for the Packers. I couldn't root for the Niners. It was just hard. I was just sitting there like sulking. But I do respect good football, and they're a good football team, man. So I'm not going to be upset about losing to that team. I'm really not, as much as I want to be. Our deficiencies are exactly what it was a bad matchup for us.
Jimmy, any final thoughts before we sign off here?
No, I mean, what a great day of football. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I can't remember the last time I just really watched 4 back-to-back games that I really just had a lot to say about it. So appreciate all the chats. It's always good going back and forth and hearing from you guys. It's boring when I have to listen to my own brain and answer to my own brain. So, but yeah, I'm hoping for a Bengals and I don't know, man, the NFC, like Bengals and Rams, huh? That's what I'm hoping for. So I'm sure the Niners will probably get there though, as much as I don't want them to. So Chiefs, Niners, Super Bowl. Chiefs win it.
Chiefs, Niners.
So I think it's gonna happen.
So you got the Niners. Hold on, you got the Niners beating the Rams?
Yeah.
I thought you were picking the Rams. Shit. You're picking the Niners.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like what you said. My heart kind of wants the Rams to win, but I want Stafford to get it. But I just gotta. There's something about this Niners team, and I said this earlier off camera, but this really felt like this feels like the Eagles' year, right? When every week we said, "Nah, there's no way they can beat this team," and then they did, and then "Nah, there's no way they can beat this team in the second round." They did. And then they went to the Patriots and they said, he ain't gonna break. Foles isn't gonna beat Tom Brady. And then he did. So I still think the Chiefs will beat them in the Super Bowl. But man, it's gonna be in SoFi. So that's an element to think about.
I already hear the Chiefs people complaining because they're like, either way, we're gonna have to play a road game for the Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
First,
the Rams have it set up, right? They got 2 home games if they win. So again, no excuses, right? So that's another thing, right? With the exception of Tom Brady, Super Bowls don't happen at home. So that's kind of another reason why I'm kind of picking the Niners. But for the 49ers, it's kind of like home, right? All the Niners fans have been talking about how they own that stadium. So, either way, it's a home game for the NFC. So it's gonna be interesting though. I think it's gonna be tight games. I could both of them could be 3-point games again. So, but yeah, there's just something about this Niners team. Like I can't really explain it systematically, but they're just a bunch of dogs, man. It's hard to say that they're gonna lose.
Time traveler, why are you upset with Jimmy and calling him drunk? Because he picked the Niners?
The Niners.
Well, I don't understand why you're
He took out the number 1 seed for one.
But he's acting like you have a hot take.
That's not a hot take.
They beat them twice already. That's not a hot take.
They won the whole year against them, and now they're going to play 2 games in LA. If they win this game, they have lost 3 times in one season, 2 in LA. That's embarrassing. So, and LA hasn't done anything to make me think that I just got to pick LA. No. They've been good games both times. It took overtime this last one, so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a dogfight. It really will be. I'll eat crow. If they blow them out, I'll eat crow.
I mean, I don't think there'll be blowouts. I mean, I think the only thing you'll have to eat crow for is if the 49ers do take over the stadium. I think that's where you'll have to say, hey, y'all were right, I was wrong.
Agreed.
But I don't think you have to eat crow if you say, hey, I think the 49ers are going to win and the Rams win in a close game. That's not, no. We don't do that here.
Right.
You got to be wrong. You got to be loud wrong about something to eat crow, in my opinion. I'm not going to eat crow about picking a game that's you just said the opening line was 3.5. Why are we what are we arguing about here? You acting like you're picking against a half-point favorite.
The Rams were so elite, their line would be like 10+.
Exactly.
And they're at home.
Don't you automatically pretty much get 3 points for being at home?
Home team. Yep. So they're giving you half a point. That's how good the Rams are. Congratulations. Not with it. I just don't. At the end of the day, I don't believe in McVay like I do Shanahan, and I think we agree on that, Steve. So, they got to show it, man. That's what it's about. Like just like Cowboys got to show it. We've got 4 playoff wins in the last 27 years or whatever it is. Like we just got people ask me, "Oh, you're upset?" No, I'm not upset because I'm used to it. It's scar tissue at this point. Like I'm waiting for this team to take that next step, and it's the same thing with them. They got to get that monkey off their back. They got to win. So until they do, I'm not gonna bet the Rams are gonna win that game. They haven't shown it yet. So
time travel. You're saying Jimmy G, his defense is carrying him. We've seen this with a lot of people over the course of playoff history. This
They
isn't
also
a
scheme it
first.
where he's not asked to be the guy that wins the game for them. So that's Jimmy G's not asked to go out there and win the game time in, time out. But Shanahan's smart to know that he's not that quarterback too. San Francisco by 8. Y'all getting the safety there? 2-point conversion.
Look, TD, I see you talking about the video I posted with the most ridiculous celebration I've probably seen in a long time with William Gay. It definitely looked like one of those skits from Key and Peele.
Yeah.
That's how crazy that one was. So
Oh,
if
and
y'all
I want
haven't
to
seen that, make sure you follow me on Twitter.
Somebody earlier said that. I don't know who it was, but somebody earlier said that we both look like we're sleepy. Number one, I've got 3 children. Yes, I am sleepy. Number 2, I was born with squinty eyes, so I always look sleepy. So y'all can call me what sleepy, whatever if y'all want.
Oh, I wanted to say this though. I know I keep trying to rap, but there's something else that just popped in my head that I wanted to address. Do you have an issue with all these taunting penalties?
Yeah.
Like they called the one on Sue today, and then they called the one on Brady, and some of these penalties, and I felt like Scott Hockley or whatever his name is, Ed Hockley's son, was
Yeah.
trying to.
He's not as jacked either. That's the most embarrassing thing for him.
I just wish we had a little bit more leeway in the playoffs. Now, granted, the penalties, us as Cowboys fans, we're now traumatized by this, so we pay so much attention to penalties. Apparently,
yeah, you're gonna let these guys play 18 weeks, and then you're gonna like throw a flag on them for getting a little jazzed up at a play. I mean, it's just I don't like it at all. I also don't like when they try to like tighten up the celebrations on touchdowns too. It's just like, what are we doing? Like they do this in the MLB too, where they try to players get upset about bat flips and all these things. I'm like, that's what makes the game exciting. These players are playing with passion. They're getting excited about when they hit a bomb, or they're getting excited when they have a big touchdown like Tyreek Hill. Like, did Tyreek Hill get a taunting penalty, by the way, for that deuce that he threw up? No,
because that's taunting.
He didn't get no flag for that. So that's the other thing is like, it seems so like ridiculous when they call it. So it's like, anyways, yeah, I don't like it at all. I don't like penalties that are unrelated to the game at the end of the day. I mean, unless somebody's like, I didn't even like back in the day when they used to give Emmitt Smith a flag for taking his helmet off. I thought that was stupid too. So what if they take their helmet off? Unless you wield it like a weapon, like, what's his name? From the Browns.
Oh, Myles Garrett.
Yeah, if Garrett wants to throw them, yeah.
That's,
I mean,
that's
but if I take my helmet off and yell like, "Yeah, I'm excited," like that's stupid. They shouldn't get a flag for that. Who cares? We all know that on the football field, much worse things are done and said between those lines than anything you do for these flags that they get.
I want to know what Tom Brady said though.
Well, reading his lips, I read, "Are you effing kidding me?" is what I read, with blood coming out of his mouth.
But that's not. They say that every play.
Probably, but I also think that like looked a little like he was really close to the dude. So there's this is complete speculation by me, but there might have been a chance that a little bit of that spit got in there. So he was just really close to the guy, and I think it was just one of those things where it was like, "Come on, bro, back up." So yeah, he was just a little too close to the referee, in my opinion. But I don't feel bad for him. So
no. I was more so saying that because it's just interesting in terms of the potential impact it has on the games.
Oh yeah,
but I agree. I don't have any sympathy for Brady. I mean, I want to pick and choose when you want to enforce stuff like that. Go off. The last thing I wanted to bring up though, and I thought I saw it here, but maybe I lost it. First penalty. Why are you guys arguing so hard about Time Traveler just wants to? I guess you're a Rams fan. Can you
He has to
confirm?
be a Rams fan.
You must just say you must be a Rams.
State your allegiance, time traveler. Are you traveling from the future where you won the Super Bowl and we don't know it yet? Or are you traveling from the past where the Rams are in 2000?
All right, the last thing I'm gonna say: salty Cowboy fan comment. Cowboy fan comment. Just give me, I've been more than pleasant the last hour and a half, but let me just get this off. On the Cooper Cup deep throw, did the umpire touch the football?
Oh, I know. I saw it too. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
That's the thing is like, I don't care when they call, like when that game ended, I was like, okay, look, I understand what the rules are. We've all been a victim of the rule is this. I know it might be a catch or it might be this or it might be that, but the rule is this. Okay, fine. You can hide behind the rules. I get it. But there's been plenty of times in this league where they said, you know what? Hey, it's a call down from the booth in the last 2 minutes of the game. We're just going to make sure we got it right. And the thing that I'm never the person, and Steve knows this as well, I'm never the person that blames the referees for losses. I hate that excuse. It's just like, you shouldn't have put yourself in that situation. So I will first say that. They should have not put themselves in that situation to need to go down the field in 30 seconds. But when something like that happens where a referee literally smashes Dak from behind, as a referee group, we got to come together and go, look, this is kind of out of the norm. Like we need to go back and look at this, because we all know if that ball was properly set, he would have got the ball spiked with 1 second, and he didn't. So the referees immediately flip their mic on and say, the game is over, and run and fucking run, literally run. And I'm like, okay, look, that to me is cowardice. You know what I mean? Like, at least own it and just be like, we made a mistake, blah, blah, blah. Or, hey, the ball was spotted. But, like, nobody's going to be mad about the fact that, like, some dude just literally – and mind you, when you look at the aerial or, like, the suite level view, he was, like, 50 yards away from the play. Like, oh, my God, I'm going to miss this play. And smashes into him because he can't stop his own momentum. Like, is anybody really going to be upset that they went, like, that shouldn't have happened as a referee? We're going to give you 1 second, and then Dak's going to throw a Hail Mary, and they probably lose anyway, and we never talk about this again. But they didn't even, like, literally do the right thing. So they were just like, the rules say blah, and then here we are today where it didn't happen again, and now we're going to revisit this in the offseason. And it seems like the Cowboys find creative ways to lose that then need to be addressed in the offseason, that then become new rules for the next season, and it never, ever happens again. But we always find a way to find some loophole in the rule that allows the referees to just disappear out of the tunnel. And that's why they got beers thrown at them. So there's me being salty.
All right. Time Traveler said he's a Chiefs fan. So then why the hell are you arguing like this? I don't understand. All right. I think we're reaching a point.
What should we call it?
I think we're reaching a point where it's almost midnight where we are, and now we got some people out here that are a different type of crowd, because
the West Coast is waking up.
Because bruh said he's a Chiefs fan, which I don't understand why you're going after Jimmy for picking the Niners. But here's the Niners fan
I was that dude 2 weeks ago, Time Traveler. I was that dude 2 weeks ago that did not believe in the 49ers. But guess what? I went there and I saw them in SoFi. I then went to Arlington and saw them with my own eyes, not on TV. I was there in both stadiums with my own eyes. And this is why I'm so passionate about how much crowd I expect at SoFi this next game, because I saw it with my own eyes. That being said, look, the Rams have to just prove it, man. It's just that simple. The Niners are ready. So if they show up flat, it's over. I promise you it's over. Right, if they can win in the Tundra, they can win in LA with the hot heaters going and the roof closed. They can win in that stadium. No problem. They've already done it twice.
I think bro's drunk, so I'm going to let him go. There's another
Chiefs to beat the Niners. So there you go. I'm picking the Chiefs to beat.
Okay, but this statement here from this Niners fan might even be more ridiculous. This guy said needs to focus on the Chiefs.
And that's just disrespect to the Rams. That just shows you right here. Like, they think that this is going to be a cakewalk. Well, that's fine, but don't overlook your opponent either.
I guarantee you San Francisco's not thinking about like this at all. But this is when I tell you guys about the arrogance that I've encountered with the San Francisco fan base. These are the people I'm talking about.
Yeah.
These are the people I'm talking. This comment right here. This is blasphemy.
Well, the guy we talked to at Texas Live after the game said his exact quote was, "Look, guys, you guys played a good game, but like we knew this was going to happen. We knew we were coming here to win." I was like, "Bro, it was a 6-point game and we were on the 20-yard line. What are you talking about? Like, you act like y'all won by 30. Like, y'all were so good that y'all barely beat us. Cool. Like, okay." And we clearly did not play our best game. Like, there's no doubt. Like, anybody that watched that game, nobody went, "Well, the Cowboys look good today, but they just got barely beat." Like, no, that didn't happen. They looked like trash. And it was still a 6-point game. And I mean, arguably, they didn't look that great against Green Bay either, but they got a punt block. So you got to be good. You got to be lucky. You got to be lucky.
Yo, somebody said, "Y'all are hilarious." Austin said, "I wish I had that kind of confidence in the Cowboys."
Man, it's been a long time. Confidence, see, there's a difference. Confidence is one thing. We have the talent. I wouldn't say I have the confidence. I mean, I told Steve the whole game when we were watching them, I said, "I'm worried about this because we know who the better coach is. We know our O-line is not the best O-line in the league because I said that on record for 3 straight weeks that like Pro Football Focus is out there talking about how the Dallas Cowboys have the number 1 O-line in the league. If you have watched the Cowboys game at all this year, you will know that that's not true. I don't care how many Pro Bowlers they have. That line is suspect at best. And they show it every week. And I'm like, how is Pro Football Focus telling me that this line is the first? I mean, there's no way this is the best line in the league. It's not even close. And they showed it against the Niners.
You're right. You do have 2 weeks to prepare for the Super Bowl. I don't know why this brother's out of pocket talking about we need to start preparing now. Brother, beat the Rams. That's what you gotta do.
Don't get too cocky now.
No, Richard said you won't hear me talking like that. I appreciate you, brother. You're right. Absolutely. You gotta play who's in front of you.
Man, the Rams smacked the Cardinals too. If they come with that kind of energy, the Niners are in trouble.
You know, this is how I know, by the way, we're in different leagues than we're in a different league than these other teams. The Cardinals got obliterated off the face of the earth in that playoff game. You don't hear nobody talking about Kyler Murray shitting the bed. You don't hear nobody talking about Cliff Kingsbury. They've just moved. They're just moved on. That gets a little. People are still talking about.
I did see some receipts on Cliff Kingsbury talking about back when he was at Tech and his record in the last like 5 games.
I did see that like after the
where
game.
He is like L in the last 5 games of every season of every time he's been a coach, where they go 7-0 to start the year and then just L's. So yeah, so I did see some receipts on that, but yeah, I mean, unless Kyler's playing in Jerry World.
I haven't heard, like, I had somebody tell me that they have more confidence in Kyler Murray leading, you know, all this type of stuff. I'm like, what? Did you not watch him in the playoff? Like,
I mean, to start 7-0 and to just fall apart, like that was a pretty bad deal for them.
There's other teams.
Nobody's holding them accountable. But I also think that division, being a Niners fan or a Rams fan, you don't take them serious anyway. You know? They weren't giving them the respect. They were like, if we get the Cardinals in the playoffs, we're going to win. And that's how they felt. And the Rams showed it. They smacked them. So
all right.
I wish I had that confidence in my team. I do not have that confidence in my team. 20 years ago I did.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. This is a good point. Murray has not been paid yet. Real money.
Mm-hmm.
However, he is the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah. There's
a different expectation that comes with. We're not just talking about any old quarterback. We're talking about a person who's supposed to be a franchise quarter. That's the frustration. Those of you here, I think there was a couple people here that said they were Browns fans. That's why they're so frustrated with Baker Mayfield. If Baker Mayfield was a 2nd-round pick playing like this, that would be different. And I understand what y'all are saying about hasn't been paid yet, because the Browns are going to have a conversation about whether Baker Mayfield gets paid. But when you're a number 1 overall pick, we got to see it. And then you got picked. And I remember at the time, because it was a 5-quarterback draft class.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen was really being talked about being the pick, and y'all picked Baker instead of Josh Allen. And then, obviously Baltimore on the back end picks Lamar Jackson. That's a bad look if you're Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why there's pressure. It's not just everybody's starting to get focused on the salary, but it's not just the salary. It's also the expectation that came with the pick, in my opinion. That's why what happens with Trey Lance will be critical, because if Trey Lance turns into what we think he can in terms of his physical tools, because he has some of those tools that you saw today, if he develops, then it's justified. If he doesn't develop and he doesn't become that dude, and it's a Jordan Love situation, then the Niners are going to get shit, right? Because Micah Parsons, Jamar Chase, Rashawn Slater, all these rookies that are already good that you passed on to not only just pass on, you traded up to go get Trey Lance.
Yeah.
So that's why the Kyler Murrays and the Trey Lances and the, whether they establish or not, I judge people that are picked in the top 5 very differently from other dudes that come up and develop. That's more my point there.
Julius Gallup. No, the game wouldn't have been different with Gallup, healthy or not. The issue with that team against the 49ers was the offensive line. I mentioned it earlier. Tyron Smith gave up 6 pressures, 4 hurries, which is the most he's ever given up since 2012. Zach Martin gave up 4 pressures, 2 hurries to a team that was rushing 4. These are your 2 best offensive linemen. And frankly, Dak had 0 time to do anything. I mean, he didn't even get the ball to the running backs in the flat. He had no time. And that was my biggest criticism of the team. Outside of the penalties, was the O-line looked like trash. So I don't see how you could have got the ball to Gallup.
This is my last point about the Cowboys, because Austin said, and I think I'm going to make a video about this because it's very important. I need you guys to hear me right now.
It's a confessional.
The reason why we're frustrated and we feel as though the sky is falling with the Cowboys, yes, we may or may not have missed a window here. Okay. That's why what the Bengals have done is so important, because the Bengals were in a similar boat where they haven't had any glory for 20, 30 years and no playoff wins. And then they hit on one, right? So I understand where you guys are coming from. They took advantage of their window. Now they're in the AFC Championship game. Bengals are literally playing with house money at this point. Here's my thing with the Cowboys, and I need y'all to hear me. Make the playoffs every year. More at-bats. The reason why we're frustrated, and this goes back to the Romo era, it's not just the playoff losses. It's the fact that you guys only make the playoffs every 3 years, it seems like. Even with the Romo era, we had 3 straight years, and y'all remember this, where we got into week 17, and it was winning in, and we lost all of them before the 2014 season. So between, I think it was 2010 or 11 when we beat Philly and then lost to Minnesota, and then 2014 when we beat Detroit and then lost to Green Bay. That was like a 3 or 4 year gap just of making the playoffs. So what I need y'all to hear me in saying, the reason why Tom Brady has so much playoff success is because he makes the playoffs and he won the division every year. Tom Brady, yes, had games where he did lose in the playoffs. But if you make it every year, eventually you will get a good matchup. You will get on a run. More at bats.
And you learn how to win. You learn how to win.
You learn how to win. You need to make it, because the last time we made the playoffs was the 2018-2019 season when we lost to the Rams. That's the last time we were in the playoffs. That's why y'all got to stop talking about, oh, it doesn't mean anything that we won the division. No, it means something that we won the division. Win the division again next year. Get yourself another at bat. Win it again in 2023. Get yourself another at bat. The more times you make the playoffs, theoretically, I have more at bats. Patrick Mahomes is having all this success. Patrick Mahomes doesn't miss the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes is not in situations where it's, win it in week 17. So if you guys want to fix this issue that the Cowboys are having, we got to stop missing the playoffs and only being in playoff games once every 3 years or so. That's what has to happen, in my opinion. Jimmy, you there? I think Jimmy got froze. We'll bring him back. Guys, I really appreciate y'all coming on and chit-chatting with us. This was a really, really fun weekend. And some of the best football we've seen in a long, long time. Hit up busr.com/fanatic. Promo code sports100FP. We're matching all free plays or matching all deposits with 100% free play, I should say. 5-time rollover promo. Some of the best customer service you'll get in the sports betting industry. The official sponsor, official sportsbook, official betting partner of Fanatic Perspective. So much coolness going on. We're going to have some college basketball going on this week. I'm actually going to go to Texas TCU on Tuesday. So very excited about that. But thank you to our sponsor, BUSR, for everything. And appreciate you guys for jumping on the live. Y'all have a great night. And we'll be back later with some more thoughts. But appreciate y'all. Peace.